Now, Threads hit that 100 million user mark so quickly, and it was really because of the ease of signing up for Instagram's 2 billion users. Mark Zuckerberg posting on Threads, quote, "That's mostly organic demand, and we haven't even turned on many promotions yet." Instagram head Adam Mosseri saying of the speed of the AMP's ramp, quote, "It's insane. I can't make sense of it." Now, this launch does make Threads the fastest growing app in history, topping ChatGPT, which reached 100 million users in 2 months. And Sensor Tower reports that it's the most downloaded free app in the U.S., both in the App Store as well as in the Google Play Store. Threads' success does seem to be having a negative impact on rival Twitter, which had 238 million monetizable daily active users as of its last quarterly earnings as a public company, which was last summer. A screenshot of Twitter traffic shared on Sunday by Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince shows what he describes as Twitter traffic tanking. And data analytics company SimilarWeb reports that Twitter's web traffic declined 5% in the first 2 full days Threads was generally available from the prior week, and down 11% from the same 2 days the last year. Kelly, back over to you.
That's interesting. I didn't realize it was the CEO of Cloud. It's interesting he's kind of trolling Twitter. I don't know if he usually puts out user numbers, but, pretty public move to go after them like that.
Well, look, it's just a pretty dramatic move from Twitter. And what's so interesting is we just don't have a lot of data about what's happening at Twitter right now because it is no longer a public company. It's just what we hear from Elon Musk and relatively new CEO Linda Yaccarino. And to see that direct impact maybe indicates that maybe some Twitter users were getting frustrated with the experience, or maybe frustrated with the tweet limits that Elon Musk had recently put on the platform.
Right. No, let's bring in another expert who might help weigh in on that. Mark Douglas, he thinks that Threads text format could be a lucrative opportunity for advertisers as well. Mark is the Mountain CEO and an expert in the digital ad space. So glad you could join us today. So what do you think is going on here? Is it Twitter's self-inflicted problems coming home to roost at exactly the same time? Coincidentally, a new rival is launching, and does this rival have real staying power?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the reported drop in users, or not so much users, but engagement on Twitter, that does kind of coincide with some of the limits Twitter put in place. So we don't know for sure that's because of Threads. I think the most interesting thing on Threads right now, it's definitely obviously gaining so many users. I mean, to remind everyone, so did Google Plus, and I don't think anyone can remember.
What was the chat one? The chat room? Clubhouse, right?
Yeah, Clubhouse was huge during the pandemic, and literally the moment everyone went back outside, it kind of disappeared. So these things can happen. I think and it's still early. I know when I go through my Threads feed, I was one of the 100 million people. It is only blue check marks posting. I mean, literally nobody that I follow on Instagram who's now on Threads has actually made a post yet.
But you wouldn't know, Mark. This is the thing. So I'm on it too. But their algorithm, and Julia, maybe you can explain this. What is the algorithm? There's no way to say, okay, for you or algorithmic. I mean, it's just kind of a crapshoot.
Well, that's one of the complaints about Threads. I mean, and Instagram, Adam Mosseri has been very clear. This is just the first iteration of Threads. They are going to be implementing many changes and making additions. Among the things people have been complaining about on Threads is the fact that you can't do direct messages like you can on Twitter, and you can't have control over the ranking of how you see your threads. I might want to only see Threads posts from people who I follow. Right now, you don't have the option of doing that. You also don't have the option of just seeing threads chronologically, just based on the time in which they're posted. So these are all things we'll see if Threads ends up giving users that optionality, and also whether people use it in a different way and for different use cases than how they use Twitter.
And Mark, quick observation. I was most surprised when I got on how difficult it was. You couldn't do video in any simple way. Photo, okay, it was like pushing text on me, and you have an explanation for that. What do you think the text thing is all about?
Right. So essentially, as an ad platform, and obviously that's a ways out, Meta doesn't need more ad space. What they need is more data. And text data is better than video data and photos. So if you go on Threads in the future and you say, hey, I'm thinking of traveling to the Maldives, you can imagine what ads you're instantly going to get. Those ads likely won't appear on Threads. They would appear on Instagram. And so you may never see ads on Threads, but the data they're collecting is insanely valuable, and I think substantially more valuable than what Meta doesn't need, which is more ad space to sell. They're not supply constraint, they're demand constrained.
And now I feel like I understand, because to me, it seems unintuitive to take a step back away from richer formats to plain text. And I say that as a text lover, but perhaps it will be successful regardless.